What's up, guys? CryptoSavy here. I hope everybody's having a fabulous Tuesday. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. They all seem to be at a very critical level. We're going to talk about that. Also, I wanted to mention real quick about the Bybit trading competition going on. They are setting up teams. The winning team will get 100 Bitcoin. If you want to find out more, I do have a Bybit link down below. Definitely check it out. You also get a $60 bonus if you use my link to sign up with Bybit. So check it out. One more thing, I want to remind you guys of our free Discord group. It's totally free, 100% free. Definitely check it out. There's a link to it in the description below the video. If you love crypto, you'll love the community. And let's get into the charts. All right, guys, as always, I want to start out by saying I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. This is my opinion, my view of the market only. Anybody that's doing any trading or investing in this market, I suggest you do your own due diligence and your own research, as this market is extremely volatile and risky. Also, keep in mind, it's still a speculative market. Don't put in more than you're willing to lose. And with that being said, or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand side of the screen. Tick the notification bell. I do daily updates every single day. That way you get notified. I try to keep us updated on what's going on in the market. Also, take a second out, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment below. It really helps the video out. Totally free to you, and it really helps us out as YouTubers. I suggest you do that for all YouTubers. Anyways, let's look at Bitcoin on the weekly. So we've been looking at this as a big bull flag. I still believe it to be that. I still believe there's a possibility we could hit new all-time highs this year. This next week or two is going to be crucial as to what happens. But if we measured this just as a falling channel, our measured move off that would be around the 13.3. Another thing I want to point out before we get into the smaller time frames is, as of right now, this 13 EMA seems to be our resistance on the weekly, which at this point right now is about the $9,100 range. We've broken through the other EMAs here. The 55 EMA would be our next EMA support. That doesn't mean it's our next support, just our next EMA with the 55, and that would be around the 7,999, right around the $8,000 range. And if we take a look at the fibs and go from this swing low to the swing high, that also matches up with this 0.618, or I'm sorry, the 0.786. And then we have our support at the 0.618 at the 8,500 range, about 8,530. We'll take a look at that in the smaller time frames. Let's go into the daily first and see what's going on. So in the daily, something else I wanted to point out. In these trend lines were off of the 4-hour. As you can see in the daily, it's a little bit different, and I'll draw one in there just so you can see what I'm talking about. On the daily, this is our trend line here on the daily. Let me move this one out of the way real quick. That's our trend line on the daily. And if we took a measured move off of it and we were to break out today or tomorrow, the measured move off that's going to be around 10,300. Now that's if we break up. There's still a possibility that we come down and retest this bottom line, which is going to be around the $8,500 range. If we were to test it today, would be right around that 8,520, 8,530 range. Let me get this back off there. I'm going to put this one back up so we can look at it on the 4-hour in a minute. But that's what I'd be looking for. If we break down below the 8,530 range, we're most likely going to go down to our next target, which would be around the $8,000 range. Also, remember, we're going to have heavy resistance right here at this 9,300. Let's go into, if you could also look at the volume here is declining, which means this formation here is coming to an end. So we will most likely, possibly today, if not I would say for sure tomorrow, see a resolution to this. Let's go into the daily RSI. So I've been looking at this as a falling channel, which we broke out of here. The more bearish case scenario would be coming down to test the top of this channel one more time. But as you can see, I have a falling broadening wedge in here. It is possible we continue up from here and break through this. We'll take a look at that in the price action. Or we could break down to here, which would most likely be around that $8,500 range to test the bottom of this falling wedge again. Let's look at the 4-hour RSI, and then we'll look at the 4-hour price action. All right, so as you can see, we were looking at this falling channel here. We had a bear trap right here, and that was on the weekend. And it's weird. Usually when you see the trend lines get broke in nice formations like this is on the weekend. And that seems to be a bear trap there. One more thing I want to point out in this is that we are seeing bullish divergence here. Let me try to spread this out so you can see it. So if you look here, we're getting higher lows in the RSI, lower lows in the price action. That is bullish divergence. We'll see if that plays out. If it does, that's showing signs that we're going to pop up from here. But as of right now, in the 4-hour, we are below all the EMAs. So if we do get a move, it will most likely have to be a hard push up. And our resistance here is going to be around the $8,900 range to pop out of this wedge. And this is what I wanted to point out, the difference in this from the daily. As you can see on the 4-hour, this wedge is a little bit different. But the good thing about this all is we are still getting support on the top of this, the bigger bull flag, which I'll zoom in or zoom out so you can see it. We are still getting supported on the top of this. So that makes my bias still to the upside. And again, that doesn't mean we can't go lower. And I'll show you what else I'm looking at here. We looked at it in the daily, but let's take a look at the 4-hour. And if we go from the swing low to the swing high, we didn't quite hit the 0.618. That is around 85.30 range. And we went down to about 85.91. That could be a front run, guys, and we continue up from there. Or we come down to test it, which would be coming down to the bottom of this wedge again. Let me move this line. Oh, I can't right now. Sorry about that. There we go. I had a hard time grabbing it. Anyways, so yeah, we could, if we do come down to that 85, it's going to be the bottom of this wedge, guys. And then if that does break, chances are we're going down to the $8,000 level. But in my opinion, we have a better chance of this wedge breaking up than breaking down. But keep in mind, it's still possible to break down. Watch that 8,500 if we do go back down there. Otherwise, look around that $8,900 range. If we break through that, that'll be breaking through the top of this wedge. And like I said, I'd be looking for resistance around that 93.17. Next point of resistance after that, guys, if we do a measured move and we were to break out there, is around, well, obviously we're going to have this $9,300 range as resistance. If we can blow through that, maybe come back, test it, and get support, the measured move off of this wedge is 10,500 on the 4-hour, which is confluent with a bunch of resistance over here. So, and the next measured move would be measuring this whole thing as a bull flag from the breakout. That would get us up to the 11.9. So I do believe we are, it is more probable we break up and out of this. But if we don't, guys, that's going to be pretty bearish if we do break down. Like I said, I would be looking for support around the 8,000. If that didn't happen, that would be very bearish and very bad for Bitcoin. But my bias is still up, guys. I think we're going to break up here, in my opinion. And yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So the levels to watch here are the 8,900 and the 8,500. If we break one of those, you know, that's most likely our direction. So if we break 89, we're most likely going up to these higher targets. If we break 85, most likely going down to 8,000. And if we break below that, that could get really bad. I want to remind you guys, my wife's webpage is up, inkyourimage.com. Check it out. It's a great way to support the channel. and keep this content free. She has coffee mugs, koozies, hats, t-shirts. She also has hoodies and keychains and a few more things that aren't listed. Just hit her up in the contact to find out what those are. But guys, you can get the shirts listed here. There's a lot of Bitcoin and Litecoin shirts, but you can have her put any crypto or any saying you want on them. Also, she can do family pictures on them, whatever you want. It's great quality stuff, and yeah, they'd make great Christmas gifts. So over to Litecoin. Looking at Litecoin on the daily. And I wanted to remind you guys, I do have a Bybit tutorial. I'll leave it up top if you're interested in learning how to trade leverage. Keep in mind it's extremely risky. Do not go high leverage, especially if you're new. Bybit also has a kind of like, you could set up a fake account. It's a testnet, and you can, play with fake money to kind of learn the market first. But I do have a link to it in the description below the video. Check it out. If you do sign up and make a deposit, you can get a $60 bonus. I also have a Prime XBT link down there. You get a 35% bonus if you use my link. So check them out if you're interested. And let's look at Litecoin. The Litecoin, we've been looking at this giant falling wedge, and the measured move out of that from where we broke out, guys, is $114 range. As you can see, I have some measured moves in here. The first one would be just measuring this as an ascending triangle, and if we were to break out the top of this, actually 74.47 is my measured move, but I do have a different measured move. I was measuring, let me zoom in so you can see it. I was measuring this as a bull flag here, and this being the flagpole, and the measured move off of that, which is still valid from where we broke out, is around the $7,200 range. Move that down a little bit. It was around the 200 or the $7,200 or $72 range, man. And that would also line up with the 200 EMA on the daily. But the other measured move I have for that would be measuring that as a flagpole. This is a flag, and $78 range is where that's at. Again, guys, I'm still biased here. As of right now, if we break down below the $60 range, we'll be going to our lower targets. We'll be taking a look at that in a minute, but how I would trade this, I don't trade Litecoin, but how I would trade this is if I would short it if we drop below the $60 range and put a stop loss just above it. And if we break this 64.42, I would put a long just above this trend line and a stop loss just below it. Just so you guys know what I would do. I'm not telling you to do it, just how I would trade a breakout here. Let's look at the RSI. All right, so looking at the RSI, it's kind of a lot of lines here, but I'm watching a few different things. If you remember, we had a rising channel here, fell out of it in a bigger falling channel, and we broke through here. Above, we had, that was our nice move over here to retest that $64 range, and now it kind of looks like a rising broadening wedge here in this little formation. Also, I have a bigger broadening rising wedge here that if we drop back below here, this would be the more bearish case scenario, but we may get support on the top of this falling channel here, guys. If that's the case, we're gonna have a nice push up today, and definitely a possibility. Bitcoin's looking good too, so it does look like I am more on the bullish side here for a move up than I am the bearish side. But keep in mind, we could get the bearish side, especially if you get into Litecoin daily and draw these trend lines in, and if we close a daily below this, that's going to be bearish, and we're most likely headed down to at least this trend line or all the way down to the bottom trend line here. Let's look at the 4-hour RSI. All right, so on the 4-hour, we're in a falling channel, slightly falling channel here, and we've had 2 touches of resistance on the top, 2 touches of support on the bottom. Question is, could this be, and this would be the bearish case, and we have to take a look at this, a head and shoulders, and then we break through the bottom of this, that's the bearish case. Keep in mind that could happen. I don't think it is necessarily gonna happen. We could come back up to the top of this channel, which would also line up with the top of this ascending triangle. And if we break that, guys, I'd be looking for at least the $70 range, or this measured move of just the triangle would get us up to around the 74.70 range. Keep that in mind. Whoops, that is not what I wanted on there. Get that off of there and put in a price label. So yeah, 70. These are my points of resistance if we break up from here, guys. The first one would be around the $70 range, then 72, 74. If I played this break, like I said, I don't trade Litecoin. I do trade Bitcoin. I hold my Litecoin, but I would start collecting profits and probably ladder out at these prices. If I was playing that same thing on the short, I would ladder out at these prices. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. That's what I'm looking at. If we do break down below that 60, I would be looking at these as targets. And let me show you how we get those. We do a fib retracement from that swing low actually to the swing high. These actually are going to move now because of the swing high up here. And so this support would be around the 56.71. The 0.618 would be around the 54.57, and the 0.786 would be around the $51 range. That's what I'm looking at with Bitcoin and Litecoin. We'll take a quick look at Ethereum. We are still in this symmetrical triangle or bull flag, whichever you want to look at it. Targets are the same. You can actually trade Ethereum, XRP, and EOS, of course Bitcoin too, on the Bybit exchange. So keep that in mind. You can actually trade this. So anyways, same way I would do a long at a break of this triangle up with a stop loss just below it. And if it broke down, I would do a short with a stop loss just above the trend line. Let's look at the measured moves. If we measure just a symmetrical triangle, break up from here would get us to around the $217 range. A breakdown from here would get us around the 156 range. I would start laddering out either one of these probably about halfway through where those targets are. The next target would be looking at this as a bull flag or a flagpole, and we take it up to, if we break up, around 227 target, and if we break down, around the $147, $148 target. So that's what I'm looking at. Like I said, I am looking more towards the upside than the downside, but we always have to keep in mind of the downside. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to check out my wife's webpage, and don't forget to click the CryptoSavy logo above my head. That will get you subscribed to the channel. Tick the notification bell to get you notified. Smash those likes and leave your comments, guys. Let me know what you think Bitcoin is doing, Litecoin and Ethereum. Anyways, have a great day, and I'm out.